few weeks ago now, I brought to your attention a scan to do with stamps issued by the Royal Mail. What was basically happening? Somebody was going to a retailer, a newsagent, or whatever, and buying a stamp in all good faith. Obviously, lick it, stick it, put it on a letter, and send it. And then the person in receipt of the mail at the other end was finding out that the stamp was apparently counterfeit, and they were having to pay a £5 charge, a penalty, for this apparent counterfeit stamp that nobody had any knowledge of. This is a thumbnail to that video I did, so you can see where you can find it on the channel. There's something like 13,000 people watched it. Now, at the time, it was a case of, well, who's responsible for this? What's going on? How come all of these stamps are showing up all over the place? Because the whole thing was the process of getting these stamps from A to B. They were printed by secure printers, which, you know, the outside world wouldn't have access to. And you're talking literally millions of pounds worth of these things. So what was going wrong? I know, we'll investigate, they said. Well, guess what? Royal Mail accuses Border Force of failing to stop fake stamps from China over claims they're entering the UK on an industrial scale and have left British victims with £5 penalties. As I said the other day, that's what's happening. When you get a piece of mail with this penalty, then you know, you've been caught with a counterfeit. It's disgusting. And, you know, they've said they're coming in from China. Now, I have big questions about this. I mean, you can see here, Royal Mail has accused them of failing to stop thousands of fake stamps that are flooding into Britain from China, leaving victims with the £5 penalties. A senior executive at the post office questioned why the forgeries were not being intercepted at the border and urged ministers to put pressure on officials to tackle the problem. Security experts have described the industrial scale influx of fakes as economic warfare, with the tacit approval of the Chinese Communist Party sparking a diplomatic row as China dismissed the claims as baseless and absurd. Well, they would, but on the same token, why are they always being, demonized? And if you look at the figures, millions of pounds of whatever every year go from us over there, and they're being demonized and put in a box and stuck over that way. I mean, that's another video for another time, and I find the whole thing crazy. But back to the stamps, we know how much they're costing now compared with what they used to years ago. And these phony ones apparently are as little as 4p. And they're quite convincing copies, apparently, purchased by smaller retailers who are actually not obliged to buy directly from Royal Mail and can instead buy them from wholesalers or online. David Gold, Director of External Affairs and Policy at Royal Mail, insisted yesterday it was Border Force's responsibility to stop counterfeits entering the country. I'll tell you what, I come back from a holiday and I had 400 fags on me. I had 200 in my case, and my wife was 200. And we went to the Border Force gates and we said, do we have to declare anything? And he said, well, what you got? I said, well, 200 fags each. No, in you come, no check-in, no nothing. So I wonder if that kind of rationale or that kind of attitude is taken with an awful lot more. Be interested to know. But typical, isn't it? It's not our fault, it's their fault. So more importantly, what are you going to do about it? And should the retailers be obliged to buy these things at source instead of looking elsewhere for dodgy hockey copies? And is it the post offices in these places, or is it the smaller retailers who just have stamps out of the till, when you go and buy them that way? Could be anything. Let me know if you come across this. As always, please leave your comments, hit the like button because it helps the algorithm push us around. Subscribe to the channel and please share it with your social media contacts. I would appreciate it. And as always, I look forward to talking to you again soon. Toodaloo.